before Thales peered into the heavens, before Anaxagoras named the moon a rock, before Greek thought ever called itself philosophy, there was Agastya. In the rich intellectual soil of ancient India, Agastya emerges not as a footnote, but as a towering figure. A poet sage, a scientist before science, a philosopher without a podium. He's said to have drunk an ocean, split a mountain, and brought civilization south of the Vindhyas, which, depending on your sensibility, sounds either like a comic book origin story or the metaphorical resume of someone trying to bring order to chaos. Let's find out who Agastya really was, and why his legacy is still rippling across both rivers and reason. Our story starts, as Indian stories often do, with a problem. The Vindhya Mountains, proud and brooding, were growing taller every day, threatening to block the sun's path and divide north from south. Agastya, with humility and a hint of cunning, he asked the mountain to lower itself so he could pass south. Out of respect, the Vindhyas obliged. Agastya never returned, and the mountains never rose again. A tale of myth, yes, but also a philosophical parable. Agastya didn't conquer with force, he asked, and the world yielded. In a tradition that sees dharma, moral law, right order, as fundamental, this story isn't just folklore. It's a lesson. Ego can be lowered, balance can be restored, and reason can shape even the wildest forces. Agastya isn't just remembered in poetry. He appears in texts like the Agastya Samhita, a classical Sanskrit treatise attributed to him that spans topics from cosmology to medicine, electricity. Wait, electricity? Yes. The Agastya Samhita contains references to electrochemical reactions, using copper plates, acidic liquids, and magnetic fields. Whether Agastya wrote it himself, or whether it was attributed to his name later, the point remains, he represented a tradition that treated nature as intelligible. That's philosophy in action. Not just contemplation, but classification, inquiry, testing, systems of thought that include the body, the stars, and the soul as one interconnected whole. In Greek thought, Thales said water was the principle of all things. In Indian philosophy, there's an older, more layered answer, the 5 elements, Pancha Mahabhuta. Agastya helped articulate a worldview where earth, water, fire, air, and space are not just physical substances, but ontological categories, ways of understanding how the universe is structured, and how consciousness arises within it. This isn't just early chemistry, it's metaphysical. It links the macrocosm, the universe, with the microcosm, the human being. What's out there is also in here. Agastya's framework offers a holistic, integrated cosmology, long before dualism, reductionism, or Cartesian splits. Agastya is also credited with contributions to Sanskrit grammar and Vedic chanting. But in ancient India, grammar wasn't just technical, it was sacred. Sound Shabda was seen as a fundamental force, and the arrangement of syllables was thought to mirror the structure of the cosmos. Agastya, through poetic hymns and ritual formulas, was tuning language not just for meaning but for harmony, between thought and speech, speech and action, action and reality. He was, in a way, a linguistic engineer of the soul. In the Ramayana, Agastya isn't just a sage, he's a guide, a counselor to kings, a moral compass in a world full of war and ambition. He represents a kind of early virtue ethics, not laws imposed from above, but qualities cultivated from within: self-restraint, balance, right speech, humility. There's a story in which he refuses a lavish gift from a king. When asked why, he says a man is not measured by what he receives, but by what he refuses. Wit and wisdom, one line at a time. Agastya is often described as the one who brought Vedic knowledge to the southern regions of India. He didn't just travel, he translated. He adapted ideas across languages, rituals across geographies, cosmology across climates. To put it in modern terms, he localized philosophy. And he did it without violence, colonization, or conquest. He embodied transmission without erasure. The idea that truth can travel without losing its roots. In many ways, Agastya was a proto-philosopher of pluralism. Unlike later philosophers who founded schools, Nyaya, Vedanta, Samkhya, Agastya didn't leave behind a fixed system. He left behind a style, pragmatic, mystical, scientific, ethical. He blended precision with poetry and myth with measurement. Agastya reminds us that not all philosophy comes with footnotes. Some of it is sung, some of it is lived. Agastya's star, yes, there is one, Canopus, is still used in Indian astronomy. It's called Agastya Nakshatra, and its appearance marks seasonal changes. He doesn't just live in myth or manuscripts. He's still part of the rhythms of time, guiding crops, calendars, and rituals. A sage who drank an ocean, not to impress, but to restore order. A thinker who crossed mountains, not to conquer, but to connect. Agastya didn't write a treatise on metaphysics. He wrote himself into the land, the sky, and the memory of a culture. And that, perhaps, is philosophy at its deepest, the art of living in such a way that the world becomes just a little more intelligible and a little more whole. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing for more stories from the roots of philosophy. There's plenty more where this came from. Hope to see you soon.